we absolutely have to talk about the latest attempt from the Broadcasting Standards Authority to stick their censorial fingers into even more pies. Sean Plunkett, the founder, host, and owner of the platform, received a letter from the BSA telling him that they were looking into upholding a complaint made against him, which is absolutely crazy because the BSA has absolutely no authority over something like the platform or other online mediums. Sean, in his true journalistic fashion, went on air and read every dirty line of that letter, exposing that effectively the BSA has hosted some sort of backroom meeting to decide that they're extending their powers. Now, this story has been pretty widely covered in the media, but it's also gained attention from the likes of ACT, New Zealand First, and the Free Speech Union. In fact, New Zealand First leader Winston Peters called it Soviet-era Stasi censorship. He also called it blatant overreach and highly concerning. Now, the complaint that the BSA is looking to uphold against the platform alleges unacceptable racist comments. When they received the complaint, instead of chucking it in the bin like they should have, they decided to do a little bit of investigation. And lo and behold, by their own findings, they believe they have jurisdiction to uphold this complaint. Why? Because they believe the platform falls under the Broadcasting Act's definition of broadcasting. So what is the definition? It says here, broadcasting is any transmission of programs, and program is sound or visual images, or combination of, intended to inform, enlighten, or entertain, or promote the interests of any person or promote any product or service. The Free Speech Union said that if the BSA is allowed to extend its reach into podcasts and online media, it will be policing speech that it was never designed to regulate. And that's what sits at the core of all of this. Not only are they not operating in line with their core function and purpose, they've also gone out ahead of Parliament and made up their own rules. This should be extremely concerning for anyone who believes in freedom of speech. Instead of putting their hand up and acknowledging the mistake, Chief Executive Stacey Wood had this to say: "Our vision is freedom of expression and broadcasting without harm, and freedom of expression is where we start, always. We just disagree that freedom of expression means an absolute right to freedom of speech to say whatever you want." Let me read that last part one more time. We just disagree that freedom of expression means an absolute right to freedom of speech to say whatever you want. What an absolutely shocking thing to hear from the Chief Executive of the Broadcasting Standards Authority. And if you think that's out of touch, hear what else she had to say. Wood said research had shown the public trusts a well-regulated media, and people deserve to have access to accurate, reliable information about the world around them. If you were going to ask me to describe the media of today, I definitely wouldn't be leading with well-regulated, accurate, and reliable. Research that we do know exists shows that public trust is at an all-time low when it comes to the media. Less than 33% of New Zealanders view the news as trustworthy, independent, and unbiased. Wood also said that the BSA has now been taking new broadcasters into its system for years. This one just happens to be broadcasting over Wi-Fi rather than radio waves. Who's actually overseeing and commissioning this expansion of the BSA? It's not Parliament, and it's certainly not the people. If this complaint is upheld and this is allowed to stand, it sets a dangerous precedent for everybody. Podcasting, streaming, posting on social media, all of a sudden, everything falls under their remit. And I don't know about you, but I don't really feel like Comrade Stacey has my best intentions at heart. Back to Plunkett and the platform, he said he's going to fight this to the very end, saying that he'd rather die on his feet than live on his knees. At a time when everyday Kiwis felt like they had no voice, the platform stepped up. And Sean and his team have done an amazing job fighting for freedom of speech here in New Zealand. So like the many others who have said it, Sean, we at Pillar stand with you, and we'll fight for free speech with you every step of the way.